In October of 1962, the world came closer to ending than most people will ever know. It began quietly, with a shipment moving across the Atlantic under heavy secrecy, steel hulls cutting through dark water, Soviet cargo ships sailing toward Cuba. To the public, nothing seemed unusual. But inside American intelligence rooms, every radar blip and intercepted signal felt like a ticking clock. The Cold War was already frozen with fear. The United States and the Soviet Union were locked in a silent standoff, each armed with enough nuclear weapons to erase civilization. Cuba, just 90 miles from Florida, had become the most dangerous chessboard on Earth. American spy planes photographed long, shadowy objects hidden under camouflage nets, missile launchers, nuclear-capable weapons, proof that the Soviet Union was placing offensive missiles within striking distance of U.S. cities. Tension exploded overnight. Naval blockades were prepared. Bombers were fueled. Nuclear submarines slipped beneath the waves, carrying weapons that could burn continents. Every decision now mattered. Every mistake could be final. Then came a single intelligence report. Late one night, analysts intercepted a Soviet communication linked to the mysterious shipment. The report suggested that the cargo might include tactical nuclear warheads already operational in Cuba, smaller weapons. Faster to deploy, harder to detect. The phrase "ready for use" appeared in the translation. That phrase changed everything. If the report was true, it meant American forces could be annihilated the moment they invaded Cuba. It meant Soviet commanders on the island might already have authority to launch nuclear weapons without direct approval from Moscow. Inside the Pentagon, fear turned into urgency. Military leaders pushed for immediate action. Airstrikes. Full invasion. End the threat before it was too late. Time compressed. Hours felt like minutes. The pressure on decision-makers became unbearable. But the report had a flaw. The original Soviet message was vague, written in technical language. One word, when translated into English, carried multiple meanings. Gotov. It could mean ready, or it could mean being prepared. That difference meant millions of lives. If the weapons were ready, delay meant disaster. If they were still being prepared, diplomacy still had a chance. No one knew which interpretation was correct. As American warships closed in on Soviet vessels near the blockade line, the world held its breath. One wrong move, one nervous commander, one misunderstood order. On October 27th, the most dangerous day of the crisis, a U.S. reconnaissance plane was shot down over Cuba. The pilot was killed instantly. Many in Washington believed this was the beginning of war. Inside a Soviet submarine near the blockade, conditions were even worse. Cut off from communication, low on oxygen, surrounded by U.S. destroyers, dropping warning charges. The submarine carried a nuclear torpedo. The captain believed war might have already begun. Protocol required agreement from 3 officers to launch the weapon. 2 agreed, 1 did not. One man refused to believe that the world should end on incomplete information. Above water, leaders scrambled for clarity. Backchannels opened. Messages were rewritten, reread, retranslated. Linguists argued over words while bombers waited on runways. Finally, a clearer message arrived. The shipment was not operational. The warheads were under strict control. The word "ready" had been misread. The weapons were not authorized for immediate use. A single translation error had nearly pushed humanity into nuclear fire. With that understanding, diplomacy surged forward. Secret agreements were made. Missiles would be removed. The blockade would end. War would be avoided. The public never learned how close it came. No alarms rang. No cities burned. People went to sleep unaware that their lives had hung on the meaning of a single word. The Cuban Missile Crisis ended not with explosions, but with restraint, hesitation, and human judgment overcoming fear. In a world filled with weapons that can end everything in minutes, the survival of millions once depended on careful listening, patient thinking, and the courage to pause. History often remembers the loud moments, but sometimes the quiet correction of a mistake is what saves the world.